I mean, it really is hard to imagine how cocaine got into the White House, and it is even harder to imagine that the White House and the Secret Service would have absolutely no answer about it and that they can't figure it out. Now, just to recap what we do know, it's just a little bit. The cocaine was found on the evening of July 2nd. The Secret Service confirmed today it was discovered in a vestibule leading to the lobby area of the West Executive Avenue entrance to the White House. That's where visitors are asked to leave their phones and other electronic devices. Now, this location is accessible to those on West Wing tours. Members of staff and members of the media also have access to that area. Now, keep in mind, visitors are supposed to go through security prior to entering the White House. The Secret Service has canine units. They are trained to detect drugs, explosives, and also firearms. But those protocols apparently just did not work. And now it seems we may never know where the breakdown in security happened or whose cocaine actually made it through. Let's bring in Robert McDonald. He is a retired Secret Service agent who spent 2 decades at the agency. Robert, thank you for being with us. We're lucky to have you because you worked on the inside. You worked inside the White House. I got to say, I was sort of not surprised, but at the same time, I was surprised thinking, I mean, this is the Secret Service. This is the White House. You'd think there are cameras all over the place. I guess I was hoping that they'd get to the bottom of this.
Well, good evening, Brian. It's nice to be with you. Look, a lot of disheartening information coming out here. You're right. How could this happen? How does something like this happen in the most secure building in the country? How does something like this happen inside of gated walls of 18 acres where we knew exactly what 500 people were in there for a protracted period of time? There are many, many cameras in and around the White House, but there are some nooks and crannies of the White House that are not covered by film. And that's probably one of the issues here. I think the other issue that we have is that the claim of no DNA or no fingerprints on the baggie has unfortunately led the Secret Service to a dead end here. Now, there are a number of other things that can happen. The review of those visitor logs, the continued interviews happening with White House staff that work in and around the building. You know, a criminal investigation is a reconstruction of the past, of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I think they're just at a point here now where there are several pieces of the puzzle are not able to be put together to finally get the whodunit in this instance.
But why close the investigation so soon, Robert? I mean, you just mentioned a whole list of things that they could do, which would clearly take time. It just seems like they sort of washed their hands of it very quickly.
Well, I think they've come to a point where they don't believe that there's any criminal investigative value in any of the information they have. There are other options for the White House administration to seek information from its employees there to see how this may have happened and continue probing to get information. I think the Secret Service is indicating that they've come to a roadblock with respect to criminal investigative information in the matter. It does seem like it ended a little bit quick, but obviously some decisions were made that this was the direction that they wanted to go in.
Do you think there's a chance, Robert, that they know who brought the cocaine in the White House and that they're just not releasing it for security reasons, or there's some reason that they're keeping it classified?
I hope not. You know, those of us that spent a lot of years in the Secret Service participating in criminal investigations, participating in protection assignments, you know, our motto is worthy of trust and confidence. And hopefully that there's no other situation here involved in a cover-up or not giving up information that they may have. I think you're going to see continued congressional oversight and continued congressional questioning with respect to this issue. And I also think you're going to see the Secret Service take an opportunity here to continue to evaluate and reevaluate its policies and procedures. You know, everything that the Secret Service does with respect to protection is based on an incident or something that's happened in the past. So I'm hoping that the Secret Service will take this opportunity to reevaluate itself, reevaluate its measures, and to continue to develop a very positive and productive product for what we're tasked with doing.
And again, you worked on the inside. I mean, is it difficult to bring cocaine in the White House? I mean, would it be easy to sneak it in? Apparently it happened here.
It happened here. There are many of us out here that have spent many hours on the phone over coffee trying to figure this out. So your question is spot on, and it's troubling. You know, how does this substance get into the White House? It's a little bit troubling.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.